tell me this, because I always like to mention when people jump into from a hobby to a business, the cost, just the cost from jumping into the $20,000 loss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you scratch that. You saw a new hobby in hand pouring.
Yeah.
Let me know from people out there who want to start pouring, because everyone's starting to do it now, and because they see how cool it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me a summary on the profit and the loss and just that learning curve when you starting.
Well, I mean, I want to say it doesn't take a rocket scientist to pour silver. You know what I mean? It's essentially kind of easy. You know what I mean? But there are little tricks that help you along the way. Like if you don't know the little things, it could really hinder your performance. You know?
Right.
It's hard to determine a profit versus loss because you're always spending, man. You don't just buy a bunch of stuff and say, okay, I got everything I need to pour silver now. It's
Right.
okay. You know, like you're always needing more stuff, man.
Right.
Like your crucibles are always burning out. Your molds are always breaking. Furnaces are breaking, you know, like just to start, if you want to do it right. If you just to start, you're looking at like $2,000.
Okay.
And that's, you know, a $500 furnace, $500 worth of custom stamps, another few $100s worth of regular old stamps, at least, you know, $700-800 worth of molds, you know, because you don't want to pour one thing, right?
Right.
So that's just the start. And then the crucibles, you're going through them. They don't last you all but a couple days, and those are $20 a piece, you know. So it really starts to add up. And like I tell people, it never ends. Don't ever think if you're going to start pouring that you could just throw a certain amount of money at it and then it goes away. You never have to spend anything again. You're always spending, always putting back in.
So that expense sheet is really like, you know, something that's constant. And you didn't even mention the precious metals.
Oh yeah, and then you're buying the silver, yeah, and you're always having to throw a little bit extra in. You can't just buy a 1 ounce coin and melt a 1 ounce coin and give it to somebody. You know, you always got to throw in a little extra.
Right. So when people look at that cost, that may be something to deter them from it. But what's kept you into it? Because you've been rocking pretty hard for a while. So what's been motivating you, and what
I started 5 years ago, right? And I did pretty good. I got the business up to a pretty good level, you know, like to where I was making honestly good money, staying busy, you know. And I got hurt, you know, so that's another thing. There's hazards to the job, you know, like it could be genetic for me, the doctor was saying, or whatever, you know, but I got I had to go get surgeries and stuff because where am I at? Yeah, like I'm cut right here on both arms, you know, but all the pounding, you know, all the stamping, the hand stamping, I had messed up my nerves in my arm.
Wow. Like carpal tunnel, as some people do with a lot of
there's 2 years I couldn't move, dude. Like I couldn't even scratch my ass. My arms hurt so friggin' bad, dude. Like the pain on a 1 to 10, it was a 50, dude. Like the pain was just unimaginable, man, for a long time, just 24 hours a day. And I went and got some surgeries. Those didn't really do anything. I'd say it took about 2 years for my arms to start actually stop killing me to the point where I couldn't move anymore. And
so you telling me
back into silver again.
This all came from you doing the pouring?
Yep.
See, this is the first time I ever heard someone like get that type of injury.
Yeah, I was messed up, dude. Like honestly, I shouldn't even be pouring anymore, dude. Like I'm pretty messed up, you know, but I make it work, you know.
Wow. So now the next question is this. What I hear a lot is like, why the hell does it cost so much? You know, people always want to complain about the poured art or anything custom. What is your answer to that?
Well, like you say, it's custom. I mean, you can't go get a custom toothpick without paying 4 or 5 times what a regular toothpick going to cost you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they need to understand, like when they buy hand poured silver, it's not generic. You know, we're making 1 million of these in 20 minutes silver. You know, this is it's. There's it's half bullion, it's half art. You know what I mean? So you're gonna pay a little bit extra for the art side of it. You know, it's not just the plain run of the mill stuff that you're gonna see every day. You pay to have that wow factor. You know?
Right. So who do you make your silver for? your silver pours for? Have you developed a certain customer base?
I wouldn't say really a certain customer base. I just, you never know, man. There's so many different people buy from me, and then being on Instagram, and doing the advertising there, there's always a new person that sees you every day, and they want to know what you're about. They want to buy a piece or two or three or whatever,
Which piece represents you the best?
Oh man, that's hard to say. Probably this one. That looks like me right there. That looks like me.
Yeah, that's when I was doing the videos, I looked at that, man. I love that patina. I love the leaf in the middle of the head. Like you said, who can say no to this? Look how it's done. I mean, it shines, it gleams, the color is beautiful.
I've learned a couple tricks over the years, man. I've learned a couple tricks. I'm lucky, man. Like I got to work like real close hands with a lot of like really good pourers, man. Like the Bear, Silver Vessel, the Vulcans. I got to actually hang out with these people, see how they work and see what they do, and it helped we all helped each other out a lot. This is in the beginning when there was nobody, man. There was maybe 10 pourers out there anywhere. Right. And yeah, dude, it's crazy to see where it started and where it is now. It's just like, I was scared when I came back because I healed up a little bit. I decided I was going to go back to work, and I was scared because there were so many other pourers. I was like, man, nobody going to remember who I was from 2 years ago. Right. And there's so many other people doing it now. Is there really a business for me anymore? I was really conflicted,
How did you get through that? Because that's important. Before you go on, that's important, and you analyzing that. So how did you get through that point?
I think sometimes, dude, you love something so much that you're blinded to anything that will hinder you. You know what I mean? You're just like, I'm gonna do this, and that's all there is to it. Right. This is what I want to do with myself. Right. So that's what I did, and I would tell you, man, I wouldn't say until maybe 30, 45 days ago. It was shaky, man. Like I really didn't know if this was going to work out. But the last 30, 45 days been really good, man. I've been making good money. Business has been staying real steady, and it's feeling like it used to back in the day. I'm not struggling as hard as I was anymore.
How did this present day situation affect that mindset?
I don't know if it was because of COVID or not, but I got to say, man, business really picked up when it all started. Yeah. I think a big part of it is that a lot of other guys could not get silver anymore. Yeah. And they couldn't get cheap silver. So a lot of other pours stopped pouring. And I still had good connections. I still do. So that kept me in business through the whole pandemic and still able to get good prices and still able to give my people good prices.
Yeah. And that's one thing I love about the chat. Everyone shares ideas, connections, because the most important thing is keep everyone going.
That's why I wanted to start that chat that we have. Get some of the close guys that I know, and mostly just pourers in there, so we can all help each other, give each other a hand. Like just the other day, I couldn't get no silver, and Jay hit me up. Hey man, if you need some silver, let me know. I'll put the order in. Right.
So we're talking about Metals Mafia. This is what gave you the inspiration to start Metals Mafia, and then after you tell me that, list some of the people that are involved in it.
Okay. Well, back in the day, we first started it because there was a lot of we were on YouTube real tough back then, and there was a lot of like bigger names that were taking advantage of people and portraying themselves as like pillars of the community and whatnot. So you start hearing these stories of people saying, yeah, I did a deal with so and so and they kind of screwed me over. All right, you hear that once, you kind of whatever, but you start hearing it like 2 and 3 and 4 times about the same high up person. You start to wonder, like what's really going on here? Is this guy using his name to kind of take advantage of people? Right. And I started seeing a lot of that, like a lot of it. So I was like, man, this is screwed. And There was one guy in particular that was really running rampant. He was taking advantage of like kids. He was doing trades and not sending his end of the trade with like 15, 16-year-old kids. Like they ain't got no money. Like, so I was like, this guy got to be stopped, right? So I made the website, and I pretty much made it to where if you did a trade or a buy or a sell or whatever with anybody, you could leave a feedback on them.
Right.
So that way, hey, if it was a bad trade, you could say it was a bad trade, and somebody else might go on there and see his name and say, oh, well, if he doesn't do good business, I don't want to deal with him. It stops it from happening. That was the main deal. When I first started, the main people that really put us in the light, it was the Bear, Mrs. Vulcan, Mr. Vulcan, Silver Vessel, Silver to Burn was there. Christopher Sanchez was hanging out with us. Stacking AG47. A lot of these people are gone now, man. Like a lot of these people don't pour anymore. Silver Supplement was hanging out with us before he was Bay City Bullion. He was hanging out with all of us real tough. We all talked every day.
Right.
Hence why he came into the game and was so good at pouring. He got to hear a lot of insider knowledge, so he knew a lot before he even started. He probably knew how to pour in his sleep before he even started.
What are some of the hardest things about pouring? Now, I started pouring just small things, keychains, small pieces of silver, just to kind of complement what I sell with my coin rings. So what are some of the tidbits you can give on the growing pains of pouring silver? I now know about the injuries, something I never thought was possible other than burns. But
yeah, no, I worked my nerves. I got permanent nerve damage, dude. Like I'm messed up for life, but I still can work it, Yeah. Your question was what are some of the little things that we could do?
Tidbits you can give, about pouring that would help. Like my thing is over pouring. I'm always spilling over. So for a new person, and I'm doing a lot of open pours because I don't have a lot of molds. So I kind of create the mold, and then I pour the silver or the metal inside. So
what I would say to that is, this is how I think of my crucible when I'm pouring. Okay, so like you have your crucible full of hot metal, right? Grab it with the tongs, you're tilting it over. Really analyze the tilt, because when you're tilting that crucible and you're about to pour it in, there's going to be a point that you tilt it to where the silver is going to want to flow down, right?
Right.
When you hit that point, that's when you want to stop moving your hands. You just want to let it flow. You don't want to keep going, because the more you tilt your crucible, the more pressure and faster it's going to go down in there.
Right.
So if you just slow it down a little bit, take your crucible out, go to your pour, and just slowly start going until you see it come out and stop, it'll probably stop you from over pouring so much, because you won't be going so fast. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Also, the biggest thing I could say to anybody, and this is probably too much of a secret, but it's obvious, but it's not to a lot of people, man.
Hey, bring it on.
If you have a 1 ounce mold, you don't need to use a 60-ounce crucible to pour that 1 ounce of mold. It's like using a Sparklets bottle to pour a shot of whiskey. You wouldn't use this giant bottle to pour into a little tiny thing. You would use a little one to pour in a little one, right? So the smaller you can get your ratio. Okay, I got a 1 ounce pour, I got a 3 ounce crucible. You're probably going to do a lot better with that scenario than a 1 ounce mold and a 60-ounce crucible.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I have the tabletop furnace, the one
top loader or front loader.
Top loader, the one
that those are not the ones to get, dude.
Right. I bought that one because that's what I saw on eBay. Another person got it, recommended. I didn't learn until I saw some of the mishaps in the chat that I need to invest in an open.
Yes, front loader. Yeah.
So it's a front loader. So now that I know that, I bought the wrong size crucible. I have the 3 kilogram one, so it's long, and I actually bought the short one. Can I use that in the furnace that I have?
If it'll fit, yes, you can.
And it can fit. So I can put like maybe 1 ounce of shot in there, and I can pour it because I look like something I can control the most. What other tips do you don't mind? One more tip that you don't mind sharing?
I'd say like buffing your pieces, man. You know, like a lot of people, they pour their pieces, they have like, you know, a little bit of impurity on the back or whatever, and it leaves kind of like a nasty, like a stain on your thing. You can just buff that off, run it through the tumbler, and it goes away 99%, you know?
So you do use a tumbler?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Because I see, I love the shine. I love the shine. Even some corn ring guys have stopped using the elbow grease and put it in a tumbler, and I can see the difference. So that's definitely something I want to step up to now.
Yeah, they're not too expensive, you know, and when you're doing a lot of stuff, it just comes to a point where you have to, you know, you can't really put that elbow grease into every single piece, you know, you wouldn't be making too many things every day.
Right. You're absolutely right, because it is kind of difficult. So Pitt, so let's go to the Instagram. Now that you came from the storefront, made the connections, and business is going up, what can you do now to ensure that you continue to grow? What have you learned during the mix until now? Now you see the business picking up. How do you think you can maintain it and maintain the edge?
I've thought about that a lot lately. Pretty much just keep on doing what I'm doing. You know, like when you're dealing with any kind of social media, you know, being constant is what people want. You know, so you need to be a constant. You know, you need to post every day, at least once a day. You know, I try to post 3 times a day. One in the morning, one in the afternoon, one at night before I go to bed. You know, that way, at least, hey, somebody might work all day or work all night, sleep all day. He's not going to see anything you post. You know, so I try to post something for everybody. You know, they might see something. You know, throughout their little history or whatever. Doing good business, man. Don't fuck people over. You know, don't mess people up. Don't send them what they didn't order or short them, or not a penny, man. You can't mess around in this business. You mess up with one person and that could be the end of you.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I love it because what you sent me, I got the Panda. My first Pit Bullion piece, won't be my last. But I love everything about it. When I looked at it on Instagram, I had a Chinese Panda coin, 2014, that I just came in silver, and instantly I said, I'm gonna pair that Panda with that coin. Instantly, I said, that's why I said, where do I send the money? Because I want to send it right away. I need it to me. I need it to make this coin ring, and I want to pair it with it. But when I looked at it, and I looked at the way you packaged it, I love your cards. When you packaged it, I thought it was in a tune. I had to rip, tear, pull.
A lot of people. Back in the day when we used to do the YouTube, because I've always used those cardboards like that, right?
Yeah.
So back in the day, like people used to make the YouTube videos. You remember the one-handed YouTube videos where like they're in their car trying to open something? Right. Oh, you should have seen these guys trying to open these things, dude. Right. They'd be like ripping them and tearing them. How do I get it open?
Yeah, I mean, but it's wonderful because it shows the care and concern of making sure that thing comes, you know.
Yeah, you like a lot of people, they'll throw it in a bubble mailer and send it to you. You know, it's like, dude, you gotta make sure it looks proper when they get it. Because I know a lot of people, man, they'll get a box. The first thing they'll do is go, you know, and they'll see it. Do I hear anything clanking around? Because if they hear something clanking around, they're never buying off you again. You know, that's it for you. You know,
that's an important point. So how much do you? And I always ask this question. You know, how much do you put into packaging? Because I think
put just as much into packaging and shipping as I do into pouring, man. I mean, I might spend more time packaging than I do pour.
And give me 2 reasons why. Because I think
you know, when somebody first gets your stuff, you know, first appearances are everything, right? So if they get it, it's in a sloppy bag, or it's not even in a bag, no COA, just thrown in there. Okay, you know, but if they get it, it's in a nice bag, nice COA, displayed nicely. You want to have your best foot forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And you know, I'm glad you said that, because it's I think that the process begins and it should end with the same energy. So I know people who do a lot of creating, but when it comes down to sending it off,
it's not so great. Yeah.
Right, it stopped at the bench. It goes ahead. So I think it's important to do it from the beginning to the end.
Oh
so,
yeah.
Great point. So let's talk about money, the taboo. How do you create your pricing, and what do you say is fair? What do you say is what is needed?
So I pretty much say I look okay. Let's just say I make a piece. Like let's go for instance here. Let's say I make this piece, right? It's a 10-ounce skull.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I do is I say, how much do I have into it? It's silver. How much did I pay for the silver? Let's say $18 an ounce. So I'm in $180 on the piece right off the bat, right?
Right.
And then you make it, and then you say, well, how much time do I got into this? Like I poured it. I might have took 3-4 times to pour sometimes. Sometimes it takes one. Like this one in particular, it took me 2 times to pour. Then I start breaking that down, and I say, okay, I patinaed it, put a little extra work into it, and then I say, how much am I worth? How much am I worth? How much do I want to make an hour? So right. In my mind, my minimum I want to make is $50 an hour. If I can't make $50 an hour creating and doing all this, then I'm doing something wrong, right?
Gotcha.
So I'll usually look at things and be like, well, it took me an hour to do that. I'll charge an extra $40-$50 or whatever, But things that take me 5 minutes to do, obviously, I only charge like $3-4 over spot for that because that's all I need, because you can make a lot. So yeah, it really just depends on the time that I have on things that determine the price. And then, since COVID started and we all have to pay more for our silver, I had to raise my price up a little because I was at the 25 benchmarker and I raised up more towards the 30 marker on my littler stuff, Gotcha. The bigger things, I definitely, if it's big, you can't charge 30 an ounce.
Yeah. Maybe, but I like the fact that you broke it down because I think that it's important that people hear actually what goes into the end product. They see it and they want to bargain. There's nothing wrong with finding bargains, but sometimes it's not the conversation or the place to do it because the time spent, the work you put into it, and the presentation all goes into that price. And I think that stacking. What's the difference between stacking and collecting, in the sense of when it comes down to ports art?
So, okay, there's a lot of reasons why people stack silver, right? A lot of people are like, look, I want to, this is a pure investment, I'm going to put $20,000 into silver and I'm going to hold on to it for a decade and hopefully it goes up.
Right.
You got those guys, you got the guys that are kind of like flippers, like, all right, I'm going to hold on to it and I'm going to wait for the ratio to change and then I'm going to convert it all to gold or whatever, there's so many different reasons, all I could really say is my reason, and my reason was I could not hold on to money. If I had money in my hands, I was going to spend it, dude. Right. That's all there is to it.
Right. You're right. Me too.
There's no holding money, dude. I cannot save money. It's just not going to happen, dude.
Right.
So, but when I started buying silver, I wasn't going to go to the coin shop every day and trade in my goodies, because this is what was good about it for me. I'm a collector by nature, I like to collect things,
Right.
So now I found a way to collect and preserve my money at the same time.
Right.
I may not preserve my money 100% in the future, but I could be buying, I could be buying fucking God knows what. I could collect freaking cast iron pans or something, I'm not going to get, I could collect action figures, I'm not going to get my money back like I would with this, I think.
You're right.
So I think I've made a good idea, to collect silver because I'm going to get at least most of my money back in the future,
Right. Yeah. And I agree with you, man. And I love the way you explain that. I'm definitely going to put that on a cut by itself so people can hear, because I think it's important. And that's why I asked you, what type of customer do you have? Because you have a person who say, you know what, this is a collectors. Yeah. I'm not going to take a Pit Bullion pour and try to barter something for it. But it's so beautiful they can. Somebody you make it a house for that beautiful piece you have on that table. But
that brings me to something else, like okay, so you've been in the business for a little while now. Do you ever get those guys that you see them come into the community or the game, and they're buying tough, they're buying like madmen, and then 2 months later you see the post of them selling all their silver, that really strikes a note with me, man. I really, really feel bad for those guys, So usually when someone comes in like that nowadays, and they're buying a lot off me, I feel like I need to tell them, like,
right.
Hey, look, bro, I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money. I absolutely love that you're spending it with me, but don't buy out of your means.
Right.
This hobby can get real addicting real quick.
This is,
and you can just want to buy from everybody. There's so many people, this, you could really go broke fast,
Yeah.
And my big advice to people is, dude, slow down, buy within your means. Don't put yourself in jeopardy that you're gonna have to sell this stuff a month or two later.
Right. And
biggest advice I can give to anybody,
And that's a golden rule right there. And I think that someone needs to hear that, because we are blinded by the allure of the precious metals. Because we know that it's a good thing to put your money into. It's a hedge against inflation, good way to preserve wealth. But then you have special pieces that catch your eye, and you're paying a premium, something you may not get back in your lifetime. And you start seeing that it's always available. Just like if we know that we go to a place to party and the lights never shut off,
right?
and the bar never stops flowing. Be like, man, I don't want to end this party. This is going to be for a minute. That's how
right.
I feel when I turn on Instagram. I told Edgar from AG Stacking, I said, look, I'm done for May. Stop posting.
Stop posting.
I told him, stop posting, because I can't accrue it anymore on my bill. Because every time he posts, it's something nice. I said, man, I wanted more gold. I needed some platinum. I needed this. Before I know it, it wouldn't have been no Mother's Day. It wouldn't have been no Mother's Day if it was up to me. So I had to put a lock to it. And then what he do? At 12:30 a.m. I don't know what time it was in Arizona, but I don't know what time. All I know that he kept on posting. And I hit him up and said, stop. You need to stop. Because I won't be done.
It gets addicting, man. It really does. Man. It really does.
It's something that I'm glad that I found something that I really enjoy. It's a lot that I still want to learn. So you've been doing this for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next?
It looks to me like the machines are taking over, man. It looks like, having the 3D printers and lost wax casting and stuff like that is really going to be the future of this. I think there's always going to be, the level like where I'm at, pouring in the graphite, the sand casters. I think there's always going to be that, but I think we're definitely getting ready to take it to the next level. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're going to really start seeing pieces that are just,
right.
like.
So how is Pit Bullion preparing for that?
I thought about this hard too, man. Printers aren't that expensive right now. You can get one for like $300-$400, and that's not too bad. I mean, it's not out of the means, right. But I just don't know if I want to go it gets to be a point, JT, where we're not really pouring silver anymore. Like I feel like the craft is getting lost with the machines or something about it, man. I need to stick with my roots, man.
Yeah. I understand that, because what I see now, I'm just getting into coin rings maybe 2 years strong now. I'm still learning the basics. I really am. I'm learning the basics. I'm trying to understand how to do it and keep the shape, straight walls. And then I hear about lathes. Now I hear about jewel setting. I'm saying, good gracious, slow it down. I understand the progression, so I know that in order to keep up, I'm gonna have to eventually move to that level, and I really wanted to learn. So what is that thing that allows you to remove yourself from the paper being delivered from your doorstep to now looking at the paper on the internet? What's going to take Pit Bullion to move to the next level?
I guess just being in the wave, man. I guess you see everybody else doing it. You could either get left behind or you can roll with the flow. So more than likely, I'm just gonna probably roll with the flow and bite the bullet. Like even like as of lately, I've been doing a lot of sand casting, dude. I never used to do sand casting. I just don't like it, man. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
But people want it, man. So am I gonna go broke and not do it, or am I gonna do what I don't want to do and make money? It's just
right. I mean, I understand, because it's like one of the things you can do well, and it's working. But when you see the market going this way, you're like, I know how to do that too, but that's not where my heart is.
Exactly.
Like, I can do like, I want to get a lathe, but it's like I must deal with the market who wants to just deal with a basic ring, and let the lathe people do that lathe, and let the people who do the jewel setting do that until I get to that point. I turned down so much based off just wanting to stay pure to really understanding my craft. I did see some things on your site that I really love. You doing the gold Gild.
Yeah.
I love that. Explain that process.
So I do the gold plating through electroplating. So essentially it's nasty chemicals and electricity, that make it all happen. There's a cleaner, there's an acid that you get. So you run it through the cleaner, you run it through the acid dip, which kind of etches it to the point where the gold will stick on it in your next bath or whatever. And yeah, man, you just dip the piece in there after it's been prepped, and you run the right voltage of electricity through it. And there's gold ions within the liquid that it's in, and the electricity makes the gold ions stick onto the piece of silver.
Okay.
And it's the best way to go about plating anything. A lot of people do like the leaf, that stuff will scratch off and stuff like that. The electroplating, it's bonded onto you'd have to like really take a layer off to get it to go anywhere,
Okay. I want to get into that. And I remember setting a price for like maybe a year ago before I got my furnace. I said, you know what? I want to do my ring. So people ask, I want a gold ring, and it's very expensive to do a gold. I'm sorry, I'm going in and out. I'll go and edit that out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. I was going in and out. But anyway, people wanted a gold ring, and I knew the price would kind of scare people off. And I stumbled across the gold plating machine. I said, you know what? That may be something that I'll get into for people who still want it, who don't mind the gold plating. And you can get other plating as well, like platinum plating, if I'm not mistaken. Is that so?
Oh yeah, you can get every kind of plating: silver plate, copper plate, platinum plate. Yeah, you can do it all.
So tell me this: what's that setup? Tell me the cost of that setup.
My setup cost me about $3,000.
Okay.
But if you want to get into it, for the rings and stuff, let me know, because I actually know of a setup that would be perfect for you, and the quality of the product is really, really good too.
Let the people know where they can find you, Pit.
You can find me on Instagram at Pit Bullion. You can find me on my website, pitbullionlv.com. You can catch us on the Metals Mafia website, metalsmafia.com. We have a Discord server, Metals Mafia Discord. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, bro. I'm freaking everywhere. But most of my stuff is on Instagram, and the website's a good place to see my stuff too.
Now they know they can find you guys. We will definitely keep in contact with Pit. Pit, this won't be the last time that you're going to be on.
No, man, I love you, bro. I'm always there to support you, and you likewise. You're always trying to help me out too. That's what it's all about, man. Just helping each other's out. And
I really appreciate that, man.
Sharing the clientels, man.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I appreciate that, and definitely love and appreciate the love that you give back.
Yeah, man.
So you keep doing that, man, and you're gonna prosper for a very long time.
I'm hoping.
Hey guys, when you have an opportunity, go check out Pit Bullion's Instagram page at Pit Bullion. You'll see his poured art. everything that he pours on a regular basis he puts on Instagram. Also check out pitbullionlv.com, which is his website, and you can check out some things there. Also Metals Mafia, and check out his hand poured silver. Beautiful work. Hand poured silver by Pit Bullion.